Hello. Welcome to the information session of the AOF Financial Leaders Program. I'm KC Kwok, the Chief Executive Officer of the Hong Kong Academy of Finance and the host of today's webinar. Thank you for your interest in the program. Let me begin the session with a brief recap of the program features. I will then open the floor to take your questions about the program. You may send us your questions in the Q&A box in this Zoom. First of all, let me take you through very briefly the objective of this program. This program aims at inspiring financial talents with considerable experience in the financial industry, inspiring them with a mindset to lead, equipping them with macro perspectives, and expanding their professional network. This program has some unique features in the sense that it offers a unique opportunity for participants to engage in dialogue directly with and learn from top leaders in the government, regulatory authorities, financial institutions, business sector, and civil society. The program also offers participants the opportunity to become AOF members and to gain industry-wide exposure through our publicity efforts. This part-time program lasts for about 9 months, running from April to December 2023. Participants are expected to commit 1 half day every week. It's usually a late afternoon on a weekday, running from 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. to attend program activities. This year, we aim to admit around 20 financial talents from a diverse background in financial services. They are at probably around 2 levels below the CEO position. They must be nominated by their employers with a nomination letter signed off by the CEO affirming that the applicant has potential to be a future leader and showing the employer's support for the applicant to participate. The CEO of the applicant's employer can only nominate 1 applicant in a year. The application deadline for the program is 11th of December 2022. Applications will be considered by the AOF Membership Committee. Priority will be given to 1, AOF members, 2, applicants who are based in Hong Kong, and 3, applicants from firms with global or regional headquarters in Hong Kong. Application results will be announced in March 2023. The program comprises modules with 5 key themes, namely 1, global financial architecture, socio-political and macroeconomic developments, and monetary and regulatory trends. 2nd, Greater Bay Area and China. 3rd, green finance and ESG. 4th, fintech and innovation and digitalization. And 5th, championing change and leadership sharing. Conversations and discussions with top leaders and company visits will make up the majority of the modules. Participants are expected to do a considerable amount of reading in preparation for the conversations and discussions, and lectures and talks would be kept to a minimum. We have a lot of distinguished speakers for the 2022 program, and some of these speakers are shown in the program brochure. And the list of speakers is also available on the AOF website for applicants' reference. This program carries a program fee of 100,000 Hong Kong dollars. But participants need to bear in mind that we will probably organize a field trip and participants will need to pay for their own travel, accommodation, and any ancillary expenses. Having gone through the key highlights of this program, let's move on to the Q&A session. You may submit your question in the Q&A box in Zoom. I will first respond to those questions sent to us beforehand, followed by the questions that pop up now in the Q&A box. The first question we have received is, what are the key competencies and potentials you are looking for from the candidates? Actually, we welcome applicants from different backgrounds, so it would not be possible to lay out all the details saying what makes one good or not good enough for the program. Generally speaking, our program looks for financial talents who possesses considerable experience and leadership potential and are poised to become future leaders in the financial industry. They should demonstrate the desire to lead, to step out of their business routines and look at issues from a macro perspective, to think beyond the short term and the individual firms or immediate business needs. They should be eager for opportunities to expand their network, and they should have good integrity with no negative track record. When considering the applications, the AOF Membership Committee will take the following factors into account. 1, the CVs of the applicants, nomination letters by their CEOs, and any other reference letters submitted. 2, contribution of the applicants to the financial industry in Hong Kong. For example, they may have participated in government and regulatory advisory committees, industry associations, and they may have taken other initiatives to promote the development of the Hong Kong financial industry. 3rd, we want a balanced mix of applicants with diverse background. Diversity is also what we will work towards. But as I mentioned before, priority will be given to AOF members, applicants who are based in Hong Kong, and applicants from firms with global or regional headquarters in Hong Kong. The next question we have already received is how to become an AOF member. Actually, AOF membership details are available from our AOF website. Members of the AOF are senior management and promising talents from financial institutions, regulators, professional firms, and academia in the field of finance. Members are the core target of and are expected to participate in the leadership development program to foster leadership, broaden members' global and interdisciplinary perspectives, and expand members' professional network. Admission of members is by invitation on the advice of the membership committee of the AOF only. Our FLP program graduates who are not yet a member of the AOF would be considered for AOF membership, subject to them meeting the AOF membership criteria and approval by the AOF membership committee. Now, we are having questions coming in. The first question, how do I know if I meet the eligibility criterion of holding a position of approximately 2 levels below the CEO position? Well, we fully understand that nomenclatures of post titles vary among financial institutions. Generally, applicants with post titles such as managing director, head of businesses, general manager, partner, and so on would be considered eligible for this program. Of course, As we have explained before, titles differ, and sometimes titles also, well, in some organizations you may have what we call title inflations, but we will take a host of factors into account when we look at the participants' qualifications. The second question that has come in, is it a must to be in a financial related role to apply this program? What if I'm a group chief marketing officer in a financial institution or in other commercial areas? How about other professional roles like lawyers? Well, as I've said before, we want diversity. We want applicants to come from different backgrounds with different skill sets and experiences. So practitioners working in the financial industry and in related fields may apply for the program. We want, as I said, diversity. The next question, can talents working in a small-scale startup apply? Well, as I said, we want diversity. Actually, if you look at the participant last year, we had one applicant from, participant coming from a startup company. So the simple answer is we welcome applicants from firms of different scales, different background, including fintech companies. The next question is, how would the AOF treat different companies under the same group? Will they be regarded as the same employer which can nominate at most one applicant in a year? Well, this is a very good question. Actually, we have thought about this in our consideration of applications last year too. But to make it easier for applicants to understand, we have come up with a simple criteria, which is that if the companies are two separate legal entities and have different main regulators, they will be regarded as different employers. For example, ABC Bank, Hong Kong, primarily regulated by the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, and ABC Insurance, Hong Kong, primarily regulated by the Insurance Authority, are considered two separate legal entities and can each nominate one applicant. The next question that has come in, when you mention 2 levels down from CEO, is that at the local subsidiary level or at the group level? Again, this is another very interesting and very useful question. The simple answer is we accept both applications. Applicants who work in the group subsidiary is only required to be nominated by the CEO of the subsidiary. Applicants who work at the group level is required to be nominated by the group CEO. That said, however, we can tell you that quite some well-established financial institutions have indicated to us their interest in the program. So you should expect that the competition will be quite keen. The next question, can the CEO of a group subsidiary apply for the program if he or she meets the eligibility criteria? Does he or she needs to be nominated by the group CEO? The answer is certainly. Generally speaking, the CEO can nominate himself or herself. However, a nomination letter from the group CEO helps to illustrate that the applicant has the potential to be a future leader in the financial industry, and that would be conducive to the selection process. Next question. Can I nominate more than one staff for the program? Oh, no. The CEO of the applicant's employer can only nominate one applicant in a year. Next question. Will the AOF consider my application if I submit nomination from my supervisor who is not the CEO of my employer? Well, unfortunately, we must insist that applications must be supported by the applicant's employer. And each application, therefore, must include a nomination letter signed off by the CEO of the employer, and together with the completed application forms. This is to ensure, let me explain, that the caliber of the applicants and the full support from the employers for them to actively participate throughout the 9-month program is guaranteed. For the avoidance of doubt, an applicant who works in the group's subsidiary is only required to be nominated by the CEO of the subsidiary. Now, the next question. My title is not CEO, but I'm effectively functioning as the CEO of the business. Can I nominate a colleague to join the program? Yes, you may proceed with the nomination and with the application for the program. Next question. Will the program activities be virtual or in person? Actually, if you look at the activities we had last year, initially we had some activities done in the virtual format, but most of the activities are done in person. The main point is that our program activities will normally be in person. This is to encourage interactive and in-depth exchange of thoughts and experience, not only between the participants and the speakers, but also amongst the participants themselves. But of course, we will also bear in mind the public health situation, and suitable social distancing and hygienic measures will be put in place where necessary. The next question. How much time does the AOF expect the participants to commit in joining the program? Well, we have already made it clear that participants are expected to commit at least 1 half-day every week. And this is usually a late afternoon on a weekday, running from around 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., during which they will join program activities, including different forms of structured curriculum activities, networking events, and other leadership development events organized by the AOF. Participants are, of course, also expected to do a considerable amount of reading in preparation for the conversations and discussions with financial leaders. We don't want the participants asking very simple questions when they are meeting very senior financial leaders. So they have to do some preparatory work. Next question is, what are the conditions that I need to meet in order to graduate from the program? We have already set down some minimum criteria in program materials. To graduate from the program, participants will need to achieve at least 75% attendance of the program. And these include the structured group curriculum activities, networking events, and other leadership development events organized by the AOF. They should also show satisfactory performance throughout. Next question. Can I take leave during the program? We encourage participants to attend as much of the program activities as possible. That said, participants may take leave due to sickness or other reasons and could still be awarded with graduation certificates as long as they achieve at least 75% attendance and show satisfactory performance. Of course, 75% is not, should not be taken as a target. We encourage participants to participate as much as possible in every activity because, well, actually, I think all the activities we organize are typically very attractive to the participants, and most of our experience in the past year tells us that most participants actually want to attend all the activities. But of course, things happen, and sometimes we may need to be excused for certain activities sometimes, and that we understand. The next question is, if my company transfers me outside of Hong Kong halfway through the program, which makes physical attendance difficult? Can I continue to participate through virtual attendance? Can I transfer my place to another candidate in my company or receive a partial refund? This question gets into, some very real issues. Well, first of all, we place great emphasis on physical attendance of participants, as it enables them to build networks with financial leaders who are our program speakers and with other program participants. Because this program is a program that have selected participants from different sectors in the financial services industry. So this is a group of future leaders, and we want the future leaders to have as much networking with each other as possible. And that is why we keep emphasizing networking. In case of relocation out of Hong Kong, the AOF membership committee will consider the requests in each and consider each case on a case-by-case basis on its own merits. The conditions of such applications may vary a lot, and I cannot say for certain what or how these applications would be dealt with. If the transfer happens at the very late stage of the program, may be dealt with in a very different way when the transfer happens in the early stage of the program. So we would not rule out the possibility that the participant concerned may be suspended from the program until he or she returns to be based in Hong Kong. So the technicalities could be dealt with when such cases arise. But one thing I can say for sure is that we do not accept transfer of program place to another colleague in the same organization. We also would not entertain requests for program fee refunds. And the next question is, how about if I change my job to another company halfway through the program? Again, that will be dealt with by the membership committee on a case-by-case approach. I think it also depends on what the job nature is that the program participant has transferred to. But as I said, we need to deal with this on a case-by-case basis, and the membership committee will be fully briefed, and they will make the decision. The next question is, can I finish my program in the following year if I have to drop out halfway through the program? Well, we don't expect participants to finish part of the program in 1 year and then finish another part of the program in another year. And therefore, in general, we don't want to see deferral of participation in the following year. And in fact, acceptance into different programs in different years will be considered independently each year. So I'm afraid applicants or participants who want to defer into the second year will have to apply again in the next year, and his or her application will be considered independently from previous years. Now we have a further question here. The financial leader, do you define it purely from frontline roles or potentially to become CEO? Would you consider talented individual with potential from support functions like risk and compliance, who eventually becomes chief risk or chief compliance officer? Would you consider CRO as financial leader? Well, the simple answer is yes. As I said before, we treasure diversity. We want the participants to come from different functions. And that is also the reason why we have lawyers, we have accountants, we have regulators, and even if people come from, say, a commercial bank, we want some of them from the corporate banking side, we want some from the retail banking side, obviously we want a risk management side. We want people from commercial banking. We want people from insurance. We want people from MPF, so on and so forth. So diversity is what we're looking for. The next question coming in is, how's the selection process? For example, panel interview. Well, the selection will first of all be done through paper qualifications. Of course, the AOF management will do the initial round of screening for them. For the membership committee, because ultimate decision will be made by the membership committee. And in order to promote a better understanding between the applicants and the program managers, management, we will typically set up, I wouldn't say interview, I would say dialogues or meetings to enhance mutual understanding. Because we don't want people to get committed themselves in a 9-month program without fully understanding what this program is. We also want to understand the applicants better through meeting them face to face. So there will, if possible, we want to meet every applicant, well, depending on the number of applications, of course. So, so as to enhance this mutual understanding. And then at the end of the day, as I said, the applications will be considered by the membership committee. The next question is, what happens after graduating from the program? Would there be regular networking, thought leadership sessions? This is actually an interesting and a very useful question. We are also going through the learning process. First of all, as I mentioned earlier on, the graduates will be considered for membership of AOF. And once the person becomes a member of AOF, the AOF regularly organize events for our members, and they could participate in these activities. Secondly, it is very clear in our mind that we will continue to organize cross-cohort networking activities. So graduates from part of the last year's program and the participants of this year's program will meet from time to time. We'll create opportunities for them to network with one another. We will create opportunities for them to have some interactions with one another. Actually, the whole program's design is such that if we have 20 or so applicants every year, graduates every year, then you could imagine that over a period of 5 years, 10 years, and so on, you will have many leaders in Hong Kong's financial services industry very closely knitted with one another. In the future, you could imagine that when you have a problem, you pick up the phone, you can call somebody, and you could discuss directly with somebody senior enough in another organization who would be able to work with you to sort things out. And if you have some great ideas, you could put these ideas to forums or committees or boards where you have a lot of people who could trust one another, who could talk with the same language, who could understand each other much faster. So you could understand that, or you could imagine that over time, Hong Kong will have many financial leaders who will be able to take Hong Kong's financial center development to the next level, much more effectively. The next question is, what differentiates this program from Singapore's Asia Financial Leaders Program by the MAS and other leadership programs in the region? Well, I'm not in a position to comment on the program of other jurisdictions, other institutions, and so on. What I could say is that, well, in the design of this program for Hong Kong, there are a few important aspects. First of all, as I've explained earlier on, we don't have a lot of lectures. We treasure direct dialogue, interchange, sharing of experience. We have some, of course, when the speakers come, typically they will give some introductory remarks, but we get into some very realistic issues very quickly. This is not a program for theoretical, concepts or whatever. So we don't have a lot of lectures. Second, we treasure face-to-face interactions. We treasure in-depth discussions and dialogue with very experienced leaders. And you can see from the speakers for the 2022 program that all the speakers are very experienced in their own different ways. So we treasure this in-depth dialogue. We treasure this networking. Obviously, we cannot sort out every question within a short time period. But after those initial dialogue, more follow-on activities could follow. So after the networking and after getting to know each other, the program participants could carry on their further work, further activities, further networking in other occasions. One other feature that we really treasure in this program is that we look at issues from macro perspectives. By macro perspectives, basically what we mean is the participants typically grow up in institutions. They grow up from businesses. They grow up with their customers. They grow up with specialties in the different areas. But when you become the CEO, when you become a very senior level leader, you have to think about financial services in a different light. You are no longer thinking about the day-to-day activities. You are no longer thinking about profitability, risk management, and so on and so forth. You have to think about higher level issues. How would you look at the issue if you are the World Bank CEO, or the IMF executive director, or the CEO of the IMF? How would you look at the financial system from the central banker perspective? If you are running an insurance company, how would you look at the insurance industry if you were the insurance regulator? So we also, another important aspect is that we don't run leadership program in this setting, and it is very different from leadership programs run by multinational financial institutions. Many big multinational financial institutions have their own in-house leadership development programs, but typically they look at their financial institutions' needs. They could bring together people from different parts of the same group together in one place, so you have interactions amongst the participants from different businesses, from different parts of the world of the same company. But here you get different companies. Here you get different industries. Here you get not only commercial institutions, you also got government officials and regulators. You also get the lawyers and accountants and consultants, and you could mingle with all these people together. So and you don't go through leadership skills like walking your talk, how to do strategic thinking, how to manage change in an increasingly complex world, and so on and so forth. We don't do those kinds of things. We know we don't want to repeat those things that multinational companies will do. And that's why we keep emphasizing looking at financial issues from macro perspectives. We look at how the global financial environment change. We also look at issues like digitalization. We also look at issues like ESG. So our program is unique and very different from the program run by many other organizations. So next, we have one more question coming in. Is the program similar to an EMBA? but with an emphasis on local and regional macro financial input, especially on GBA. Well, as I've already said before, we are not an MBA. We don't put so much emphasis on management skills, how to run a business, and so forth. We have a lot of focus on the financial services industry and looking at the financial services industry from macro perspective, looking at geopolitical, social, and global economic, financial perspectives. There are some similarities with the MBAs, for example, the emphasis on networking. But again, as I said earlier before, our networking is not just getting to know more people from other businesses. We put a lot of emphasis on networking within the financial services industry. And well, of course, we also have some speakers coming from the corporate sector, coming from the NGO sector, and coming from the academic world, and so on. But our emphasis is much more on financial services. The China dimension, the GBA dimension, obviously is also very important, and that features highly when we look at the financial system in Hong Kong from macro perspectives. The financial system in Hong Kong is unique in the world, in the sense that Hong Kong has always played the role of a bridge between the East and the West, between China and the rest of the world. And in financial services, this bridging role is also very important, and I would argue increasingly important, because China has a very unique financial system. China's economy is evolving, China's economy is changing and developing, and how China is going to interact with the rest of the world is also going to evolve. And how Hong Kong plays a unique role in the process is also a very important dimension in our program. I think I have handled almost all the questions now. If there is no more question coming in, I think we could call this a close. Well, thank you very much again for taking part in this webinar. I look forward to your application. Please be reminded that this application for this program is open until December 2022. As I said in the promotion videos, seize the opportunity and embark on an exciting journey with your counterparts from other institutions. Bye-bye.